Before you dive headfirst into the race for success, there's one important thing you need to understand. Success doesn't begin with what you do. It begins with who you are and how you think. Too many people rush into their goals without taking a moment to check the most important part of the equation, their mind. And here's the truth. If your mind isn't in the right place, no amount of hard work will get you to where you want to go. Take a moment and think about this. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. It's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. And that starts with making sure your mind is clear, focused, and ready to tackle the challenges ahead. Right now, I want you to ask yourself, how many times have you felt stuck? How many times have you let fear, doubt, or past failures hold you back? The truth is, before you can chase success, you have to first detox your mind. Clear out the mental clutter, shut out the negative noise, and start building a mindset that attracts success. If you're not careful, your own thoughts and emotions can trap you in a cycle that keeps you from moving forward. But when you get control of your mindset, everything changes. This isn't just about thinking positive, it's about shifting your entire mental framework so that you're no longer weighed down by limiting beliefs. You need to start believing in yourself and your potential. You need to take responsibility for your thoughts and your mental well-being. When you do this, success will follow naturally. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why detoxing your mind is the first step to creating the life you want. By the end, you'll know how to clear the noise, develop laser focus, and put yourself in the right mental state to attract the success you deserve. Stick around because when you start with your mind, everything else will fall into place. Let's get started. Number 1, break the cycle of procrastination. Start small, build momentum. Before you ever go out chasing success, building businesses, trying to become a top performer, or working long nights, trying to make your dreams come true, you've got to face this one truth that most people ignore. Your mind has to be in order first. No one likes to hear that. We all want the quick jump, the fast win, the shortcut. But what truly holds most people back, more than lack of money, more than lack of time, is the constant cycle of procrastination. And here's the truth. If you don't break that cycle, you'll keep chasing success and never catch it. You'll keep starting, but you won't keep going. You'll make big plans and watch them stay right there on paper. There's a reason why people feel stuck. They don't feel like doing something, so they wait. They wait for a better mood, a better day, or more motivation, but that day never really comes, not the way they expect it. And I'll tell you something, if you keep waiting to feel motivated before you act, you'll spend your whole life standing still. That waiting is the trap. It's the mental trap that creates the cycle of procrastination. And once you fall into it, it becomes harder and harder to get out. The longer you wait, the heavier it gets. You know you should be doing something, you keep thinking about it, you feel guilty, you feel behind, and yet you still don't act. That pressure builds up, and instead of helping you, it actually makes you feel worse. It kills your confidence. And when your confidence goes down, your momentum disappears. So how do you break it? You start small, and I mean really small. Most people fail because they set a goal so big they can't even see where to begin. They think success means doing everything at once. But the truth is, success is built step by step, day by day. When you take on too much at once, your mind shuts down, your energy drops, you feel overwhelmed, so you don't start. But if you take one small action, something so simple, so doable that your brain doesn't resist it, you start to build momentum. And that's what changes everything. Think about it. If you haven't worked out in months, going to the gym for 2 hours sounds like torture. But putting on your shoes and walking for 10 minutes, that sounds easy. So you do it. And once you start, your brain says, hey, that wasn't so bad. You feel a little better, you do it again tomorrow, then maybe you go a little longer, and now you've got momentum. Not because you did something massive, but because you did something. That's the secret. The real shift happens when you stop trying to win the whole game in one day. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop overthinking and just move. One step, that's it. You take one step, and then you take another, and when you do, your energy rises, your belief rises, you start trusting yourself again, You prove to yourself that you can follow through. And that self-trust, that's powerful, because when you believe in your ability to follow through, procrastination starts to lose its grip. I want you to think about how many dreams have died, not because someone wasn't talented enough, not because they didn't have support, but simply because they couldn't break the habit of waiting. They waited for motivation. They waited for clarity. They waited until everything felt perfect. And in that waiting, they lost time, they lost confidence, and sometimes they lost themselves. Don't let that be your story. Don't let waiting become your comfort zone. You've got to train your mind to move, even when it doesn't feel like it. And you do that by starting with something small. Clean your desk, write the first sentence, make the call, study for 5 minutes, whatever it is, make it so simple you can't say no, because once you begin, you tap into something real, something powerful, and it grows. That's how the cycle of procrastination starts to break. Action leads to progress, progress leads to motivation, and motivation leads to more action. And here's something most people don't understand. Procrastination isn't about laziness, it's about fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failing, fear of being judged. And that fear hides in your mind, wearing different masks. It tells you, you're not ready, or you'll do it later, or it won't matter if you skip today. But every time you listen to that voice, it gets louder, it gets more comfortable. And that's why you need to take your power back, not by fighting the fear all at once, but by proving it wrong one action at a time. When you start small, you take away the fear's strength. You show yourself that action is possible, that progress is in your hands, that you don't need to wait for perfect timing. You just need to move. Even on your worst days, even when your mind is tired, even when everything feels too much, if you can take one step, you've already started to win. That's what builds character. That's what builds real confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from praise or success, but the kind that comes from knowing you did what you said you would do. You showed up for yourself. And every time you do that, you become stronger, you become more focused, you start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you can make it. And that belief, when it's built on small daily action, it becomes unshakable. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not about being perfect. You're going to have days where you fall off, days where you slip back into old habits. That's okay. You're human. The goal isn't to never fall. The goal is to get up faster, to not let one bad day turn into a bad week, to not let one missed task turn into giving up entirely. If you can forgive yourself quickly and return to that one small step, that one thing you can do today, you stay in control. You stay in motion. People love watching success stories. They love the end result, the transformation, the celebration, the highlight reel. But what they really need to see, what they really need to feel is the process, the part where someone starts small, the part where someone struggles, the part where someone almost gave up but didn't. That's what sticks with people. That's what changes lives. So if you're listening to this right now, and you feel stuck, you feel like your dreams are too far away, I want you to do one thing. Don't think about the whole mountain, just look at your feet. What's one thing you can do today that moves you one step forward? One thing, not 10, not 5, one. Because that one thing, it matters more than you know. It's the beginning of something real. It's the shift from thinking to doing, from planning to building, from dreaming to becoming. You don't need a huge plan, you need a small win. And once you get that win, protect it, repeat it, build on it. And soon you'll look back and realize you're not stuck anymore. You're moving, you're growing, you're becoming the person you always wanted to be, not all at once, but step by step. That's how the cycle of procrastination ends. That's how momentum begins, and that's how your life starts to change. Number 2, turn self-doubt into confidence. Focus on past wins. You don't need to become someone else to feel confident. You don't need to wait until you're rich, successful, popular, or perfect to start believing in yourself. The truth is, you've already done things that prove you're capable. You've already won battles that others never even saw. And sometimes the fastest way to build real, lasting confidence is not by trying to be more. It's by remembering who you already are. See, self-doubt creeps in slowly. It doesn't come screaming in all at once. It shows up in quiet moments. When you're alone, when you're unsure, It's that voice that says, "Are you really good enough?" Or, "What if you mess this up?" And once that voice gets comfortable in your mind, it doesn't stop. It questions everything. It steals the joy out of the work. It makes you hesitate. It makes you hold back your potential because it convinces you that you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. And over time, if you don't fight back, that voice becomes your truth. Not because it's true, but because you've accepted it as your reality. But here's where the shift happens. When you stop listening to that voice and start pulling your focus to something different, something stronger, your past wins, your real life evidence, the things you've actually done, survived, built, learned, overcome. When you do that, the game changes. Because now you're not just relying on blind hope or forced positivity. You're pulling strength from truth. You've already done things that required courage. You've already gotten through tough days. You've already proven, even in small ways, that you have the strength to move forward. But most people forget their wins too quickly. They forget how far they've come. They downplay their progress. They're so focused on what they haven't done yet that they completely ignore what they've already done. And that's the trick. If you want to build confidence, stop focusing on where you lack and start focusing on where you've already shown up. You might not have the life you want yet. You might not have hit the goals you've set. But look at the things you used to struggle with that now come easy. Look at the pain you thought you couldn't get through, but you did. Look at the fears you've faced, the moments where you didn't quit, the times where you tried even though it was hard. That's where real confidence begins. Confidence isn't a switch. It's not some magic feeling that shows up when everything goes right. It's something you build brick by brick, day by day, by recognizing your own ability to grow, to adapt, to keep going. And the best way to start stacking those bricks is to look back and say, "I've done it before, I can do it again." Most people walk around comparing their behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. They look at others who seem to have it all together and start shrinking in their own skin. But they don't see the full story. They don't see the insecurities that person had to overcome, the fear, the doubt, the nights they cried alone. Nobody talks about those parts because everyone wants to show strength. But let me tell you something. Confidence doesn't mean never doubting yourself. It means refusing to let that doubt control you. You have to learn to interrupt that inner critic with evidence. Every time your mind says, "You can't do this," remind yourself of something you've already done, something you once thought you couldn't do, but did. That's how you train your brain to stop defaulting to fear and start leaning into power, because the truth is, your brain listens to repetition. It learns what you feed it. If you constantly feed it doubt, it gets stronger. But if you keep feeding it proof of your strength, it starts to believe that too. You're not starting from zero. You're not broken. You're not lost. You've got history. You've got experience. Even if your wins feel small, they matter. If you kept going on a day you felt like quitting, that counts. If you said no to something that wasn't right for you, that counts. If you took even one step toward becoming better, that counts. Stack those moments, remember them, talk about them, write them down if you have to, because that's what builds the foundation for real confidence. Not fake bravado, but grounded strength. You'll never become confident by waiting to feel perfect. You'll never grow by staying stuck in your head hoping things will change. Confidence is built through motion, through proof. And that proof is already inside of you. You've already done hard things. You've already earned the right to believe in yourself. So stop treating yourself like a beginner in your own life. You've already got a track record. And here's another piece people forget. Your journey is yours. You don't need to match anyone else's timeline. You don't need to follow someone else's path. What worked for them might not work for you, and that's okay. Your wins don't need to look like theirs. Confidence grows when you stop trying to fit into someone else's mold and start owning your story, your pace, your progress, your past victories. You see, the people who build the most lasting confidence are the ones who stop looking outward for permission and start looking inward for proof. That's where your power is. You don't need someone to remind you of what you've done. You need to remind yourself. When you build that habit, you become harder to shake. Life will still throw challenges. You'll still have doubts, but they won't break you like they used to, because now you've got history, you've got evidence, you've got wins that no one can take away from you. And that confidence, it starts spilling over into your work, into your relationships, into your goals, because you're no longer walking around wondering if you're enough. You already know, you've seen it, you've lived it. So the next time you feel that wave of doubt coming, pause. Don't let it run wild in your mind. Pull out your proof, think about your wins, talk to yourself like someone you believe in. Because the way you speak to yourself shapes the way you show up in life. And if you want to do big things, if you want to become someone you're proud of, you've got to talk to yourself with strength, with belief, with respect. You've come this far, you've survived every setback, you've grown through every challenge. Don't ignore that. Don't brush it off. Use it. Use it as your foundation. Use it as your reason to move forward. Because confidence isn't something you find, it's something you build. And you've already started. Keep going. Keep stacking those wins. Keep turning that self-doubt into fuel. Because the truth is, you're capable of far more than you think. And the more you believe that, the more the world will start to believe it too. Number 3, prioritize your well-being. A healthy mindset starts with a healthy body. If your mind feels tired, unmotivated, or stuck, it's not always because you're lazy or undisciplined. Sometimes it's simply because your body is running on empty. It's hard to think clearly, make smart choices, or stay consistent when your body is exhausted, neglected, and under pressure every single day. That's the truth people ignore. They chase success, they push themselves to keep going, but they forget the most important part. They forget to take care of themselves. And it shows up in low energy, poor focus, emotional swings, and in that heavy mental fog that never seems to go away. You see, you can't build a strong, successful life on a weak foundation, and that foundation is your physical well-being. You don't need to be a fitness model. You don't need to spend hours in the gym or follow the perfect routine. What you need is to start showing your body the respect it deserves. Because a healthy mindset doesn't come out of nowhere. It's supported by how you treat yourself on the most basic physical level. You don't need motivation when you have energy. You don't need to force positivity when you feel good from the inside out. Think about it. When your sleep is off, your mood is off. When you're constantly eating junk, your body feels heavy, your mind feels slow, and your patience runs thin. When you never move, your confidence slowly fades, and it's not just about looks. This is about how you feel when you wake up, how focused you are during the day, how patient you are with the people around you, and how confident you feel when you're alone with your thoughts. That all starts with your body. Start paying attention. Really pay attention, not to what people on the internet are telling you, but to what your body is telling you. Are you tired every morning? Do you feel irritable for no reason? Do you crash in the afternoon and need caffeine just to stay awake? That's not normal. That's your body asking for help, and the longer you ignore it, the more your mind pays the price. If you really want to succeed, if you really want to grow, then take care of the machine that carries your ambition. Start with sleep. Respect your rest, because a tired brain can't make good decisions. You might think staying up late and grinding is a badge of honor, but in reality, all you're doing is burning out your engine, and when that engine breaks, everything else slows down. Don't wait for a breakdown to start listening. Your energy is your fuel, and without it, you'll never reach the level you're aiming for. Then there's what you eat, not as punishment, not as some strict diet, but as support. Food is fuel, and if you're constantly feeding your body trash, don't be surprised when it starts acting like a junkyard. You deserve better. You deserve to feel light, alert, steady, and that doesn't come from skipping meals or eating quick fixes all day. That comes from respecting your body enough to give it what it needs. Real food, water, nutrition. That's not just a health tip, it's a success strategy. And move your body. You don't need to lift weights like a pro or run marathons, just move, walk, stretch, breathe deeply, get the blood flowing. Because when you move your body, you move your emotions. You let go of stress, you clear space in your mind. You feel stronger even when you didn't think you had it in you. Movement is medicine. It doesn't just change your body, it changes your mindset. You feel more powerful when you take action, even in small ways. You don't need a gym membership to take back control of your energy. You just need to care enough to start. And all of this connects your body, your mind, your energy, your habits. They all feed into each other. When you eat better, you think clearer. When you move more, you sleep deeper. When you rest more, you feel calmer. When you feel calmer, you handle life better. That's what most people miss. They try to fix their mind with motivation but ignore the physical piece. And it always backfires because motivation is temporary, but energy is real. And the only way to get real energy is by taking care of the one thing that controls everything else: your health. You're not weak for needing rest. You're not lazy for slowing down to recharge. In fact, that's where your strength comes from. When your body is right, your mind follows. That's the truth. Success becomes easier, goals become clearer, stress becomes lighter because now you're not dragging yourself through life, you're showing up with strength. And when life gets busy, when everything feels urgent, that's exactly when you need to protect your well-being the most. That's when you need to say no to the chaos and yes to yourself. Because when you're in a good place, physically, mentally, emotionally, you stop reacting to life and start leading it. You stop breaking under pressure and start growing through it. Your well-being is not selfish. It's your responsibility. You don't get extra points for running yourself into the ground. You don't win anything by suffering in silence. You win by being consistent. You win by being patient with your progress. You win by choosing to take care of the only home you have, your body. And here's something to always remember. Nobody's coming to do it for you. Nobody's going to wake up for you, eat for you, move for you, recharge for you. That's on you. And the moment you realize that is the moment you start taking your power back. So don't wait for a health scare. Don't wait for burnout. Don't wait until you hate how you feel to start doing something about it. Take one small step today. Drink water. Go for a walk. Shut your phone off an hour earlier. Breathe deeper. Choose better food. These little things add up. They stack. They build a version of you that feels better every day. And when you feel better, you do better. That's where your mindset changes. That's where the wins start to come easier. So before you chase every success in the world, stop and ask yourself, how's your energy? How's your health? How's your peace? Because no achievement is worth it if it costs you all three. You deserve to win and feel good while doing it. You deserve to succeed without sacrificing yourself in the process. And the people who go the furthest in life, they know that taking care of themselves isn't optional. It's necessary. You're building something important here. You're chasing growth, chasing purpose, chasing impact. But never forget, your greatest asset isn't your money, your status, or your talent. It's your energy. And when you protect that, when you nurture that, when you build habits that support that, everything else falls into place. The mind becomes sharper, the goals become clearer, the path becomes easier to walk. Start small, be patient, keep showing up, and most of all, respect yourself enough to treat your body the way it deserves. Because you're going somewhere, and to get there, you need to feel good from the inside out. That's where your power begins. That's where the transformation starts. Not outside, but within. Number 4, master time management. Make every minute count. Every single person on this planet gets the same 24 hours, rich or poor, successful or struggling, disciplined or distracted. We all get the same amount of time each day. The difference is not the hours, it's what we do with them. That's the truth. Most people overlook. It's not about working harder or adding more to your plate. It's about managing your time in a way that builds you instead of breaking you. Because when you master your time, you start to master your life. And when you don't, life will feel like it's always slipping through your fingers, even when you're busy all day long. Let me tell you something that can shift your entire mindset. Being busy does not mean you're being productive. Just because your calendar is full, your phone is buzzing, and you're constantly running from task to task, doesn't mean you're making real progress. Most people confuse movement with achievement. They think chaos means success, but the truth is, when you look closer, a lot of that chaos is just distraction in disguise. You feel like you're working hard, but deep down, you're just reacting to life, not leading it. And that's where time management becomes your secret weapon. Not the rigid, cold kind of time management with every second blocked off, but the kind that's rooted in clarity and purpose. When you know what actually matters to you, when you're crystal clear about your goals and values, you stop letting distractions take over. You stop handing over your day to things that don't matter. You stop living on autopilot and you start living with direction. That's what the audience needs to hear, because that's where transformation begins. Now, if your days are always full, but your life still feels stuck, it's time to zoom in. Ask yourself honestly, where is your time really going? Not where you think it's going, but where it's actually going. Because if you can't track it, you can't change it. Most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their week. They wing it. They hope the day flows in their favor. But hope is not a strategy. Mastery comes from awareness, and awareness starts with taking ownership of your time. Let's be real. Your phone is probably one of your biggest time thieves. Scrolling endlessly, checking every notification, falling into that black hole of content that feels harmless in the moment but slowly chips away at your day. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and before you know it, hours are gone. And what did you get in return? A moment of escape, maybe, but no real progress. No real fulfillment, and no closer to the life you say you want. That's not just about habits. That's about priorities. If something matters to you, it has to show up in your schedule. If your goals are important, your time has to reflect that. Because talk is cheap, but your calendar never lies. And I'm not saying you need to pack your day from morning to night. I'm saying you need to make room for the things that move your life forward, whether that's studying, building, resting, reflecting, or simply focusing. If it matters, make time for it. Don't wait for a perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. The time to take control is now. And here's where most people mess up. They try to fix their time by adding more tasks, more hustle, more pressure. But real time management isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. It's learning to say no without guilt. It's removing things that drain you. It's knowing that you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things consistently. And that takes courage, because distractions are loud and discipline is quiet. But it's the quiet work that builds the loud results. If your life is feeling out of control, start by taking back your mornings. That's where momentum begins. You don't need to become a morning person overnight, but you do need to start your day with intention, because how you begin sets the tone for everything that follows. If you roll out of bed, grab your phone and dive into noise, your day belongs to everyone else. But if you wake up and choose to be present, choose to focus, choose to direct your energy, you take ownership, and that ownership multiplies. Use your time like a builder uses tools, with purpose, precision, and patience. You don't need to fill every minute, but you do need to value it. Because when you stop wasting minutes, you stop wasting years. That's how you go from busy to effective. From overwhelmed to in control, from stuck to steady progress. It's not magic, it's just choices. Small choices repeated daily that shape your entire future. And remember, time management is not just about productivity, it's also about peace. When your time is managed well, your mind feels lighter. You're not constantly rushing, you're not always behind, you're not stressed every night wondering where the day went. You feel grounded, clear, focused, and that mental peace becomes your edge. Because now, you're not surviving the day, you're owning it. Let's talk straight. If you don't respect your own time, nobody else will. People will pull at you, interrupt you, distract you, and expect you to be available 24/7. And unless you set boundaries, unless you protect your priorities, your goals will keep taking a back seat. And that leads to resentment, frustration, burnout. You deserve better than that. Your time is valuable, not because of what other people think, but because of what you're building with it. There's a version of you who is disciplined with time, who knows what matters and sticks to it, who plans, follows through, and adjusts without falling apart. That version is not some fantasy, it's not some superhuman. That version is you. If you decide, if you commit, if you stop letting time manage you, and you start managing time, don't wait until you're overwhelmed to take action. Don't wait for a crisis to prioritize what truly matters. Start now. Start small. Review your day. Cut out what doesn't serve you. Block time for what fuels you. Build structure around your focus. And most importantly, give yourself grace while you learn. You won't get it perfect. That's not the goal. The goal is to get better, day by day, minute by minute. You're capable of mastering your time, and once you do, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your stress drops, your results multiply. Because now, you're not hoping for a better life, you're building it, one focused hour at a time. The clock is ticking either way. Make sure it's counting for something that matters. Number 5, learn to adapt. Flexibility is key to long-term success. Life won't wait for you to be ready. It's not going to ask if you're comfortable. It won't pause while you overthink your next move. Life moves fast. And if you want to thrive, not just survive, you've got to learn to move with it. This is one of the most powerful shifts a person can make. Learning how to adapt. Not just reacting to change, but leaning into it. Because no matter how carefully you plan things, life will throw a curveball that's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. And if you don't know how to bend, you'll break. But if you can adjust, if you can stay flexible, then you stay in the game. And when you stay in the game, you give yourself the chance to win. Success doesn't go to the person who always has the perfect plan. It goes to the one who keeps showing up even when the plan changes. That's the secret people don't talk about. Everyone wants certainty, everyone wants a straight path, but real success, it's messy, it's filled with detours and setbacks and days where nothing goes right. If you're rigid, you'll snap under pressure. But if you learn how to shift gears to move with the moment instead of fighting it, you unlock a kind of power that never fades. The power to keep going no matter what. Think about it. Look at the people who are doing well long term. Not just a good year, not just a lucky break, but truly building something over time. They've all had to pivot. They've all had to evolve. They've had to let go of old ways of thinking and step into new ones. They didn't stay stuck in what used to work. They grew, they changed. And because of that, they stayed ahead while others fell behind. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to be willing to keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep moving forward. The world is not what it used to be. Technology changes fast, markets change fast, people change fast. If you're still using the same thinking from 5 years ago, you're behind. Not because you're not smart, but because you stopped growing. That's where so many people get trapped. They fall in love with comfort, they find a routine, and they think they've made it. But success is not a final destination, it's a moving target. And the moment you get too comfortable, you start falling behind without even realizing it. There's nothing wrong with having a plan. In fact, you need one. But the real strength is not in how detailed your plan is. It's in how well you can adapt when that plan falls apart. And it will fall apart at times. That's just life. The job you thought was secure suddenly disappears. The business you launched doesn't grow the way you expected. The relationship you thought would last doesn't work out. That's when adaptability becomes everything. The ability to look at a situation and say, all right, that didn't work, but what's next? That mindset is a game changer. And let's not forget, adaptability isn't just about bouncing back from failures. It's also about growing with your success. Because as you level up, the challenges change. What worked for you at level 1 won't work at level 10. You need to learn new skills, unlearn bad habits, adjust your mindset. That's how you keep evolving. That's how you stay ready for what's next. If you're stuck using yesterday's tools to build tomorrow's life, you're going to stay frustrated. You're going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. But when you're flexible, you find a way. You stay open, you move with purpose, and that's when progress happens. Now here's something real you've got to hear. Adaptability doesn't mean you lower your standards. It doesn't mean you stop caring or give up on your goals. It means you stay committed to the destination, but you're willing to take a different route if the road gets blocked. That's smart. That's strong. That's how winners think. They don't cry over a closed door, they look for another one. They don't waste time blaming the world, they focus on what they can do next. That's power. And you have that inside you right now. Think about all the times you've already adapted in life. When you changed schools, moved to a new place, took on a new job, or dealt with something unexpected, you figured it out. Maybe it wasn't easy, maybe it wasn't smooth, but you're here. You made it through. That means you already have the ability. You just need to trust it more. Stop telling yourself you're stuck. You're not stuck. You're just uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is where the magic happens. When you stop resisting change and start welcoming it as a part of the process, your entire outlook shifts. Instead of feeling behind, you start feeling prepared. Instead of being scared, you become curious. What can I learn here? What new skill can I build? How can this make me better? That's a different way of thinking. That's what makes you stand out in a world where most people run from change. You'll be the one running toward it. And trust me, the ones who run toward growth are the ones who build lives worth living. People often wait for perfect conditions to start. They say, when things settle down, I'll go for it. When I feel ready, I'll make a move. But those moments rarely come. There's always going to be something going on. Always going to be some uncertainty. If you keep waiting for everything to line up, you'll look up 5 years later and realize you're still in the same spot. That's why flexibility is key. Because if you can start now, even in the middle of chaos, even without all the answers, you're already ahead. You're already growing while others are still waiting. And let's be real, it's not always going to feel good. Growth is uncomfortable. Adapting means stepping into the unknown. It means trying things you're not good at yet, failing sometimes, feeling lost at times. But that discomfort is the price of progress. If you can handle that, if you can walk through the uncertainty instead of running from it, you come out stronger, more skilled, more aware, and more capable of handling whatever comes next. The people who build long-term success aren't the ones who had the easiest path. They're the ones who kept going when the path disappeared. They're the ones who didn't panic when things shifted. They adjusted, they stayed calm, they kept showing up. That's how you build something that lasts. And you're capable of doing exactly that. If you stop clinging to what used to be and start embracing what could be. Every setback is also a setup, if you're willing to look at it that way. Every time something doesn't go your way, ask yourself, what's the lesson here? What skill do I need to build? What mindset do I need to shift? That's how you adapt in a way that builds real power. You don't just get through things, you grow through them. So, let this be your reminder. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be willing to keep moving, keep learning, keep shifting. Life is not about staying in your comfort zone. It's about expanding it. And every time you adapt, every time you step up, instead of shutting down, you're proving to yourself that you've got what it takes to handle anything. Flexibility is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's strength. It's the mindset that will carry you farther than anything else. Stay open, stay ready, and never forget, your ability to adapt is the key to your long-term success. The world will change, life will shift, but as long as you stay flexible, you'll always find a way to rise. Number 6, embrace failure as feedback. Learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. Most people run from failure, not because it's pleasant, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Every single person you've ever admired, every success story that fired you up, every breakthrough you've ever seen, it all came with one common ingredient: failure, not just once, over and over. But here's what separates the winners from the ones who give up. It's how they look at failure. See, the people who keep going, the ones who eventually win, they don't treat failure like a dead end. They treat it like feedback, like a lesson, like a teacher that's a little rough, but absolutely essential. We've been trained to fear failure since childhood. You fail a test, you get embarrassed. You make a mistake at work, you get scolded. You fall short of expectations and people judge you. So what do we learn to do? We avoid it. We avoid trying new things. We avoid stepping out of the comfort zone. We'd rather do nothing than risk failing. And that's the biggest trap. Because what no one tells you early enough is this: failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. It's the training ground. It's the proving stage. You don't become strong, smart, capable, and confident by avoiding failure. You get there by walking straight through it. The truth is, failure shows you the gap. It tells you where you need to grow. It points out what you didn't see, what you didn't know, and what you weren't ready for yet. But here's the beautiful part. It also shows you how much closer you are than you think. Because every time you fall, every time you hit a wall, you've just discovered something real, something specific, something you can work on. And when you adjust, when you try again, with that new awareness, you're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. That's what compounds over time. That's what builds greatness. Now, the people who truly rise, the ones who build something long-lasting, they don't take failure personally. They don't see it as an attack on their worth. They don't say, I failed, so I must be a failure. No, they say, that didn't work yet, so what can I do differently next time? That shift in mindset changes everything. You stop attaching your identity to the outcome. You stop letting one setback define your entire journey. You start treating each failure as a stepping stone. And when you do that, failure loses its power to scare you. It starts working for you instead of against you. Think about this. You can either fail once and never try again, or you can fail 10 times and learn 10 different lessons. Which version of you do you think grows faster? Which one ends up stronger? Which one builds something real? It's not even close. Because growth doesn't come from things going perfect. It comes from things going wrong. And you still showing up, still learning, still moving. And the more you get used to failing forward, the less you'll fear it, the less you'll avoid opportunities, the more you'll bet on yourself. And that's where momentum is born. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking success is about getting it right the first time. But go look at any entrepreneur, any artist, any athlete, any person who's really built something. You'll find a long list of setbacks, failed businesses, missed shots, embarrassing moments, doors slammed in their face. But they kept going because each failure gave them a piece of the puzzle, and piece by piece, they figured it out. That's how the game works. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about using it. You've got to be okay with looking foolish for a while. You've got to be willing to fall flat on your face and still get back up. That's where real confidence comes from. Not fake hype, not pretending you've got it all figured out. Real confidence is built from knowing I've failed before and I didn't quit. I've been through hard moments and I came out smarter, tougher, better. That kind of confidence doesn't get shaken easily because you've earned it. You've faced the fire and walked through it. And let's talk about the emotional side of it. Because yeah, failure stings. It hurts your pride. It messes with your head. Sometimes you feel embarrassed, even angry at yourself. That's normal, you're human, but you can't let those emotions chain you down. Feel it, process it, but don't sit in it forever. Don't let one moment of falling become your story. There's more in you, there's more ahead of you. Don't let one chapter convince you the book is over, because it's not. You're still in the middle of your story, and you get to decide what happens next. The truth is, you don't grow from comfort. You grow when things get uncomfortable, when things don't go to plan. When you try and fail and try again, that's when you're stretched. That's when you're forced to look deeper. That's when your character is shaped. And one day you'll look back and realize the failures were the turning points. They were the moments that taught you how to think, how to lead, how to respond. They made you sharper, they made you tougher, they made you real. So if you're in a season where things aren't going right, if you've been hit with a few losses, hear this loud and clear. It's not over. Not even close. You're not broken. You're not finished. You're being shaped. You're being prepared. You're learning what doesn't work so you can figure out what does. But you've got to stay in it. You've got to keep going. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. You matter. And your progress is closer than it feels. People love a comeback story. We cheer for the underdog. We admire the one who got knocked down and stood up again. But what we sometimes forget is those stories didn't happen overnight. They were filled with pain, with doubts, with moments of silence where no one was cheering yet, but they kept going. And so can you? You're not doing this for applause. You're doing this because you've got something to build, a life, a legacy, a version of you that doesn't settle when things go wrong, but keeps moving forward anyway. So stop running from failure, start using it. Start seeing it as the powerful feedback it really is. Because once you do that, nothing can stop your momentum. You won't be afraid to try. You won't be afraid to dream big, because you'll know, even if you fall, you'll rise. Even if you fail, you'll learn. And that mindset, that's unstoppable. Your time is now. Your path is not supposed to be smooth. It's supposed to be real. Keep showing up, keep adjusting, and most of all, keep believing in the version of you who never gives up, no matter how many times they fall. Because that version of you, the one who sees failure as feedback, that version is built to win. Number 7, create mental space for creativity. Quiet the noise to innovate. If you really want to change your life, truly create something extraordinary with the time you have, then one of the most powerful things you can ever do is learn to quiet the noise. The world we live in today is loud. Not just loud in sound, but loud in distractions, opinions, notifications, pressure, comparisons, and endless streams of information. You're being pulled in 1,000 directions before your feet even hit the ground in the morning. And in all that noise, something valuable gets buried. Your ideas, your clarity, your spark. The part of you that's creative, original, and capable of doing something nobody else has done the way you can do it. That part of you doesn't live in chaos. It thrives in calm. It doesn't scream through the noise. It whispers in silence. And if you never slow down long enough to listen, you'll miss it. There's a reason why some of the most brilliant minds in history worked in quiet solitude. There's a reason why people come up with their best ideas in the shower, on a walk, during a long drive, or while sitting alone in nature. It's not a coincidence. It's because the brain needs space to breathe. Your thoughts need room to expand. Your creativity needs time away from the constant buzz of alerts and expectations and mental clutter. When everything around you is screaming for attention, your ability to go deep, to innovate, to imagine something new, it fades. And what you're left with is just reacting to the day instead of creating something that matters. But the good news is, you don't have to escape to a cabin in the woods to access your creativity. You don't have to delete everything and live off the grid. You just have to start making space in your life, mental space, emotional space, quiet space. Because when you create space, your mind starts to shift. Ideas rise up, patterns connect, problems that seemed complicated start to simplify. You begin to hear yourself again, not the noise, not the pressure, but your own voice. And that's where innovation lives. You see, creativity isn't just for artists or writers or musicians. It's for anyone who wants to solve problems better, think differently, or build something meaningful. Whether it's in your career, your business, your relationships, or your personal growth, creativity is your advantage. But you can't access it when you're burned out, overstimulated, and overwhelmed. You've got to clear the path. You've got to give yourself permission to pause, not because you're lazy, but because you're smart enough to know that clarity is fuel. And most people are running on empty. If you've ever felt stuck, like your mind is foggy or your energy is scattered, it's not because you're broken, it's probably because your mental bandwidth is overloaded. You're trying to hold too much, multitask too much, think about too much, and it's draining your creative power. That's why so many people feel uninspired. It's not that they don't have the potential, it's that they don't have the space. Space to think, space to reflect, space to dream without judgment. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do isn't grinding harder, it's stepping back. It's creating white space in your calendar. It's saying no to things that don't align. It's setting boundaries with distractions. It's turning off the noise long enough to reconnect with what really matters. And when you do that consistently, something starts to change. You begin to feel more present. Your ideas get sharper. Your work feels more meaningful. And you stop running in circles trying to keep up, and you start moving forward with purpose. And listen, this isn't about being perfect. You don't need to meditate for hours or delete all your apps or live like a monk. It's about being intentional. It's about asking yourself, where can I create a little more stillness in my day? Maybe it's 5 minutes in the morning with no phone. Maybe it's a quiet evening walk without music. Maybe it's taking a deep breath before jumping into your next task. These small moments of quiet, they add up. They shift your state. They unlock the parts of your mind that are usually buried under busyness. One of the most underrated skills in life today is the ability to think clearly, to pause, to reflect, to not just consume, but to create. And to do that, you've got to fight for space, because no one's going to hand it to you. The world's only going to get louder. The demands will only increase. So you have to decide what kind of life you want to live. One that's reactive, constantly responding to what comes at you, or one that's proactive, built with intention, focus, and creativity at the center. Because the truth is, when you create space, you create power. Power to think, power to feel, power to build something better. You become more original, more resourceful, and more connected to what makes you unique. And the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people who are clear, calm, and creative. People who don't just follow trends, but start them. People who don't just scroll through content, but create something that moves others. That can be you, but only if you make the space for it. I know life feels full. I know you've got responsibilities, goals, people depending on you. But you're not helping anyone by burning yourself out or losing yourself in the noise. You don't have to do everything all the time. You just have to make time for what moves you forward. Protect your energy. Protect your focus. Say no more often. Rest when you need to. And let your mind be still long enough for your creativity to rise to the surface. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs you'll ever have won't come they'll come when you finally slow down. When you're no longer trying to force ideas, but allowing them to arrive. That's when the light bulb moments come. That's when you get clarity about your next move. That's when you create something real, something fresh, something that actually reflects who you are and what you're capable of. So if you've been feeling drained, scattered, like you're always behind or always chasing the next thing, take this as your signal to pause. Take this as your reminder that your best ideas are still inside you. Your most creative version hasn't even shown up yet, but to meet that version, you've got to quiet the noise. You've got to be willing to disconnect from the chaos long enough to reconnect with yourself. This is how you move from just surviving to truly creating, from reacting to everything around you to choosing what you want to build. You already have the potential, the brilliance, the imagination. Now it's time to clear the space and let it breathe. Your creativity is not gone. It's just waiting for quiet. Give it that and watch what happens next. Number 8, adopt a mindset of patience. Trust the process, not instant gratification. If you really want to change your life, you've got to start thinking long-term. I mean, really long-term. Because here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. But the people who truly level up, the ones who build a powerful, meaningful life, they know it deep down. Real success takes time. Real transformation doesn't happen overnight. The ones who win in the long run are the ones who choose patience over pressure, the ones who don't chase instant gratification, but trust the process, even when it's slow, even when it's hard, even when it feels like nothing is happening. That's where real growth begins. Now I get it, we're living in a world where everything's built around speed, fast likes, fast views, fast replies, fast food, fast success stories. But let me tell you, most of that is noise. Most of it is surface level, temporary, and gone just as quickly as it came. What people love to watch, what truly connects with them, is not someone showing off the end result. It's watching the journey unfold, the messy middle, the parts where you have every reason to quit but you don't. The parts where you're not getting recognition, not seeing progress, but you keep showing up anyway. That's powerful. That's what makes people stop scrolling and start listening. Patience is not weakness. It's not about being passive or sitting around waiting. No, patience is strength under control. It's discipline. It's staying focused on the bigger picture when the small wins are slow to show up. It's choosing to plant seeds today with full belief that one day they'll bloom, even if you can't see anything yet, because that's the truth about growth. It's invisible at first, it works underground quietly, and if you don't trust the process, you'll dig up the seed before it has a chance to sprout. That's what so many people do. They start something strong, but when the results don't come fast enough, they quit. Not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't patient enough to let it work. You've got to rewire the way you think about progress. Stop asking, how fast can I get there, and start asking, how long can I stay consistent? That's the real question, because everyone's motivated on day 1. Everyone's excited when things are new, but patience kicks in on day 40, on month 6, on year 2, when it's not new anymore. When it's not exciting, when it's just you, the work, and the quiet. That's when you find out what you're really made of. That's when the transformation begins, not outside, but inside, in your mindset, in your character, in your ability to keep believing even when nobody's watching. Let me break it down real clear. Instant gratification is the trap. It promises satisfaction now, but it robs you of the deeper fulfillment that comes later. It's the shortcut that leads nowhere. You scroll for hours, eat junk, skip the hard stuff, take the easy path, and in the moment it feels good, but later you feel empty, you feel behind, you feel stuck. And that's not because you lack potential, it's because you traded growth for comfort. And you don't grow in comfort. But when you shift your mindset to patience, everything changes. You start to understand that mastery takes time, that becoming great at anything, your craft, your health, your mindset, your relationships, it all takes time. You start to fall in love with the journey, not just the destination. And that's when you become dangerous, because you're no longer chasing quick wins. You're building something that lasts. You're no longer competing with anyone else's timeline. You're locked into your own. And you stop giving up when things get hard, because now you expect them to be. You know that pain is part of the process. You understand that the delay is not denial. It's development. This mindset isn't just for your goals, it's for every area of your life. You want to build confidence? That takes time. You want to heal from something that hurts you? That takes time. You want to turn your life around and become the person you've always wanted to be? That takes time. And you've got to stop rushing the parts that are meant to teach you. Sometimes the slow seasons are your training ground. They're not here to break you, they're here to build you. And if you rush through them, you miss the lesson, you miss the depth, you miss the strength that only comes from the struggle. So instead of asking why it's taking so long, ask what you're learning while you wait. Ask how you're growing. Ask who you're becoming in the process, because that's the real reward. Not just getting to the goal, but becoming the kind of person who could, becoming disciplined, becoming resilient, becoming focused, even when there's no applause. That's what changes everything. And once you get that, you'll stop needing everything to happen fast. You'll start showing up with patience, with confidence, with calm, because you know you're not falling behind. You're right on time. And let me tell you something important. When you trust the process, it shows. People can feel it. They see that you're not desperate for results because you believe in your direction. You're not shaken by setbacks because you're focused on the bigger vision. You're not looking for validation because your patience has already proven your commitment. That kind of energy is powerful. That's the kind of energy that draws opportunities, builds trust, and leads to long-term success. You're not just another person chasing trends. You're becoming someone who creates legacy. But none of that happens if you keep quitting every time it gets slow. You've got to stick with it, even when it's boring, even when it's frustrating, even when it looks like nothing is changing, because what's happening on the surface doesn't tell the whole story. Progress is always working behind the scenes. Your efforts are stacking, your habits are compounding, and when the moment is right, everything you've been working for starts to click. And people will say, it happened fast, but you'll know the truth. It didn't happen fast, it happened finally, after all the patient effort you put in when nobody was clapping. So here's what I want you to take from this. You are capable of becoming anything you want, but you've got to trust the timeline. You've got to stop needing proof in every moment. Sometimes faith in the process is the only proof you'll have. But that's enough. That's what builds mental toughness. That's what separates people who talk about change from the ones who actually live it. Be patient, not passive. Keep showing up, keep improving, keep learning, and don't get distracted by what you haven't achieved yet. Stay focused on who you're becoming, because that version of you, that future you, is already on the way. You're just in the middle of the story right now. But if you stay the course, I promise, the ending will be worth it, and not just because you got the result, but because of who you became along the way. Keep going, it's working even when you don't see it. Trust that, live that, and let your patience become your power. Number 9, detox from negative influences. Surround yourself with empowering people. The most powerful shift you can make in your life doesn't always start with a new goal, a new routine, or a new skill. Sometimes the biggest transformation begins the moment you decide who you allow to sit at your table. Because no matter how hard you work, how many books you read, or how many hours you put in, if you're surrounded by negativity, by people who drain you, doubt you, or constantly pull you backward, your progress will always feel like an uphill battle. That's the truth. Nobody likes to say out loud, but deep down we all know it's real. The wrong crowd will destroy the right mindset, and the right environment will turn your entire life around. You've got to realize how much energy is being stolen from you daily just by the company you keep. It's not always loud either. Sometimes it's subtle. A sarcastic comment, a discouraging word, that one person who always finds a way to bring up your past whenever you talk about your future, that one friend who shrinks your dreams with a joke, makes you feel like you're aiming too high, or makes success look like something only lucky people get. And after a while, you start questioning yourself, not because you're not capable, but because you've been breathing in their doubts like oxygen. People underestimate just how deeply we absorb the energy around us. You spend enough time around people who complain constantly, who gossip, who make excuses, and before you know it, you're doing the same thing, not because it's who you are, but because it's what's normalized around you, and you don't even notice it happening. That's how powerful influence is. It doesn't ask for permission. It quietly shapes your mindset, your standards, your beliefs, your confidence. And by the time you wake up to it, you've already been moving in the wrong direction. But that's why detoxing from negative influences is not just important, it's non-negotiable. It's something you owe to your future. Because the version of you that you're trying to become, the focused, disciplined, confident, and successful version, that version cannot survive in an environment where people constantly feed it fear, doubt, and drama. You can't become your best self while constantly defending your vision to people who've already decided it's impossible. You can't keep trying to grow while being surrounded by people who are committed to staying the same. And here's what a lot of people get wrong. They think detoxing from negative influences means cutting people off and being cold. That's not it. It's about being intentional with your energy. It's about being protective of your peace, your focus, and your momentum. It's not about hate, it's about clarity. You've simply reached a point in your life where you no longer have room for anything or anyone that doesn't align with where you're going. And that's a powerful place to be. When you can say, with love and without guilt, this version of me can't afford to carry old energy anymore. This shift is never easy, by the way. It can feel lonely, it can feel uncomfortable, because when you start to grow, you start to notice just how much of your old life was built on habits, conversations, and people who no longer match your direction. And walking away from that can feel like walking away from your identity, but growth requires release. You can't hold on to your comfort zone and expect elevation. At some point, you've got to let go of what's familiar and trust that what's ahead of you is better than what you're leaving behind. And here's where things get beautiful: when you create space. When you step away from the wrong influences, you make room for the right ones. People who uplift you. People who challenge you to be better. People who speak life into your dreams instead of laughing at them. People who are not threatened by your growth but inspired by it. People who have high standards, strong value, and are walking their own path of purpose. Being around that kind of energy, it will change you. You start dreaming bigger. You start showing up stronger. You stop second-guessing yourself, because you're finally in a room where ambition is normal, where growth is expected, and where success is shared, not envied. And sometimes that kind of community doesn't appear overnight. Sometimes you'll spend a season in solitude before you find your tribe, but don't rush it. That season of separation is sacred. It's where you learn to stand on your own, where you build your inner strength, where you stop looking for external validation. It's where you finally start trusting your own voice. And once you do that, you won't just settle for any crowd anymore. You'll know your worth. You'll feel the shift in your spirit the moment someone's energy doesn't match your growth. And you'll move on, not with anger, but with peace. Because now you're walking with intention. The people around you should not just like you, they should believe in you. They should remind you of your power when you forget it. They should challenge your excuses. They should hold you to a higher standard. If you keep lowering yourself to make others comfortable, you'll never rise. If you keep surrounding yourself with people who are committed to mediocrity, you'll start making it your standard. Don't let that happen. Don't dim your light because it makes others squint. If they were meant to walk with you, they'd already be wearing shades. So today, I want you to take an honest look around. Who's in your circle? Do they feed your fire or put it out? Do they challenge you or do they enable you? Do they make you feel seen or do they make you feel small? Your environment is either pulling you forward or holding you back. There is no neutral ground. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. You can't keep pretending that certain people don't affect you when you know they do. Choose courage over comfort. Walk away from people who celebrate your distractions, but stay silent when you're trying to improve. Find the ones who see your growth and say, keep going. Surround yourself with ambition, with wisdom, with energy that pushes you forward. Because that's how you grow. That's how you build a life that actually feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. You have what it takes, but you've got to protect that. You've got to build a circle that matches your mission. The right people will help you move faster, think clearer, and believe bigger. And the wrong ones, they'll keep you stuck in cycles you were never meant to stay in. Make the choice, create the space, elevate your circle, because your future deserves that level of protection. And once you get that part right, everything else starts to fall into place. Number 10, practice self-compassion. Be your own best friend. We all have that inner voice, the one that shows up when things don't go the way we planned. It's the voice that whispers or sometimes even shouts, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never make it." It's that voice that makes us second-guess ourselves, question our worth, and doubt everything we've worked for. It's the voice that never seems to be satisfied with what we've done, always telling us that we could have done more, that we should have done better. That voice is your inner critic. And if we're being honest, it's one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and the life you're meant to live. But here's the thing. You don't have to let that voice define you. You don't have to let it run your life. In fact, you can choose to quiet it, to change its narrative. You have the power to replace the negativity with compassion. You have the power to be your own best friend. The one who lifts you up when you fall, the one who believes in you even when you're struggling to believe in yourself. That's the key to not just surviving the challenges of life, but thriving through them. That's the secret to becoming unstoppable in your pursuit of greatness. Practicing self-compassion. Self-compassion isn't some fluffy concept. It's a mindset, a powerful practice that allows you to treat yourself with the same love, kindness, and understanding that you'd offer to a friend in need. It's about being gentle with yourself when you make a mistake, not tearing yourself down for it. It's about acknowledging that, like everyone else, you're human, and that means you'll face challenges, make wrong turns, and even fail sometimes. But those moments don't define you. They don't make you less than, they simply make you human. Think about it. How often do you speak to yourself with kindness? When was the last time you looked in the mirror and said, "I've got this"? For most of us, the answer is never. We spend so much time focusing on what we could have done better or how we could have been more perfect that we forget to appreciate how far we've come. We forget to celebrate the small wins, the things we've accomplished, the progress we've made, no matter how tiny it may seem. We forget that we're allowed to be proud of ourselves. That's where self-compassion comes in. Imagine for a moment that you treated yourself the way you treat your best friend. Think about how you show up for them when they're struggling, how you encourage them, how you remind them of their strengths when they're feeling down. You wouldn't dream of speaking to them the way you sometimes speak to yourself. So why do we allow ourselves to be so cruel? Why do we accept the harsh words, the self-doubt, the guilt? Why do we let our inner critic run the show instead of embracing a mindset that fuels our growth? The truth is, you're the only person you'll spend your entire life with. Everyone else will come and go, but you've got to live with yourself every single day. And that means you've got to learn to love yourself, even when things aren't going perfectly. Because when you practice self-compassion, you stop seeing failure as something to be ashamed of. You stop beating yourself up for not being perfect, for not meeting everyone else's expectations. Instead, you start seeing challenges as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to improve. You start treating yourself like the person you would want to be, the person you need to be in order to succeed. Here's the thing, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving to others, achieving your goals, and striving for success if you're not taking care of your own emotional and mental well-being. And practicing self-compassion is a key part of that. When you're kind to yourself, when you give yourself permission to take breaks, to rest, to reset, you're refueling your soul, you're replenishing your energy so that you can show up fully for everything else in your life. Self-compassion isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's the foundation on which all of your success and happiness will be built. But I get it, this can be tough. It's hard to be kind to yourself when you're so used to being hard on yourself. It's hard to let go of the perfectionist mindset, the one that tells you that you have to do everything flawlessly, or else you're a failure. But the truth is, perfection doesn't exist. It's a myth. And the more you chase it, the more exhausted and discouraged you'll feel. Perfectionism isn't your friend, it's your enemy. It's the thing that holds you back, that keeps you stuck, that keeps you from fully living your life. And here's the biggest secret of all. Embracing imperfection is the key to true success. Because when you accept that you're going to stumble, fall, and mess up along the way, you free yourself from the fear of failure. You stop worrying about what other people think, and you start focusing on your own journey. You start seeing every mistake as a lesson, every setback as a chance to bounce back even stronger. And when you adopt this mindset, everything changes. Suddenly, the challenges you once feared become exciting opportunities, and instead of avoiding discomfort, you start running toward it, knowing that it's part of the process, knowing that it's how you grow. But self-compassion doesn't just mean being kind to yourself when things go wrong. It also means celebrating yourself when things go right. It means recognizing your accomplishments no matter how small. It means acknowledging your efforts and giving yourself credit for the work you've put in. We live in a world that's constantly focused on what's next, what's bigger, what's better. But if you don't take a moment to appreciate how far you've come, you'll never truly experience the joy of success. You'll always be looking ahead, always chasing the next thing, without ever fully savoring the victories you've earned. So here's the challenge. Starting today, be your own best friend. Be the one who has your back, no matter what. Be the one who lifts you up, who reminds you of your strength, who encourages you to keep going even when the road gets tough. Because you are worthy of that love. You are worthy of that kindness. And when you start showing yourself the same compassion you show to others, you'll begin to notice something incredible. You'll start to believe in yourself in ways you never thought possible. You'll start to trust your own voice, your own vision, your own abilities, and when that happens, nothing can stop you. So be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with love and respect. Stop being your own biggest critic and start being your own biggest cheerleader. You deserve that. You owe that to yourself. Because when you show up for yourself in that way, you're not just improving your life, you're creating a foundation for the greatness that's already within you. As we wrap up today, I want you to remember this. Success doesn't just happen. It's the result of consistent effort. But most importantly, it's the result of the mindset you carry every single day. You've learned today that before you chase success, you need to detox your mind. You need to clear out the negativity, the doubts, and the distractions that hold you back from becoming the person who is truly capable of achieving your goals. The path to success starts in the mind. When you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your life. So don't just rush into the next task or the next goal without first checking in with yourself. Take a moment to reflect, clear your mind, and reset. If you want to move forward in life, you have to move forward with a clear, focused, and empowered mindset. Take the time to prioritize your mental well-being. When you do this, you'll find that everything else becomes easier. Your focus sharpens, your confidence builds, and your ability to overcome challenges grows. Success isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter and aligning your mindset with your actions. I want you to take what you've learned today and put it into action. It's not enough to watch a video or read a book. The real transformation happens when you apply the knowledge. Detox your mind daily. Make it a habit. Make it your priority. Remember, your future is shaped by the thoughts you choose today. So choose them wisely. Believe in yourself. Take care of your mind. and trust the process. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Keep moving forward and stay focused. The best is yet to come. And reset. If you want to move forward in life, you have to move forward with a clear, focused, and empowered mindset. Take the time to prioritize your mental well-being. When you do this, you'll find that everything else becomes easier. Your focus sharpens, your confidence builds, and your ability to overcome challenges grows. Success isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter and aligning your mindset with your actions. I want you to take what you've learned today and put it into action. It's not enough to watch a video or read a book. The real transformation happens when you apply the knowledge. Detox your mind daily. Make it a habit. Make it your priority. Remember, your future is shaped by the thoughts you choose today, so choose them wisely, believe in yourself, take care of your mind, and trust the process. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Keep moving forward and stay focused. The best is yet to come.